Chapter 22. Learning to invest in stocks. Peter Lynch is considered to be a great stock investment guru and has one of the best track record as a mutual fund manager. He is valued as one of the most influential personalities behind the concept of value investing. So let's understand his investment model to understand value investing better. Never buy the hottest stock in the hottest industry by Peter Lynch. The Peter Lynch model of stock picking. This chapter is crucial to understanding the world of investing broadly. It introduces you to the key aspect of stock investment, which will help you in a big way in understanding the indicators of good stocks. It will be interesting to read these guidelines which build the right intent to approach the stock investment. Number 1. Buy simple businesses. A word of caution for you to note is never to buy a business that you don't understand. Please remember, you can't value business that you don't understand. So let's understand this through a concept which is referred to as the circle of competence. Circle of competence. The circle of competence is a popular concept that has been devised by the guru of stock market investment, Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett, in one of his letters to the shareholders of Berkshire Hathaway in 1996, wrote, "What an investor needs is the ability to evaluate selected businesses correctly." Note the word selected. You don't have to be an expert on every company or even many. You only have to be able to evaluate companies within your circle of competence. The size of that circle is not very important. Knowing its boundary, however, is vital. In simple words, the circle of competence refers to those areas where we have enough knowledge through experience or studies. As per this concept, an investor must carefully select the stocks of those companies which he understands well. It is so because a doctor would know which drug or which pharmaceutical company is doing well. The doctor would even know the ethics of that pharma company. He would also be aware of the drugs that will be launched soon by the company. So in short, a doctor knows and understands the pharma companies a lot better. Hence, the probability of picking up good stock of pharma company is the highest in the case of a doctor. But if a doctor chooses to pick up stocks of a microchip company or an electronic goods company, then he is more likely to make investment based on the external perception of the companies. Here, stock picking will be based on superficial knowledge, which invites a high possibility of making mistakes. As Warren Buffett puts it, it is imperative to identify companies dealing in your core competency areas and start with investing in them. Though the circle will be extremely narrow when you start investing, it can be widened over time slowly. It has been observed that people tend to make more mistakes in picking a stock when they stray from this discipline. Most successful business people identify the perimeter of their circle of competence and operate inside it. Of course, over time, they keep working hard to build up their knowledge and competence in those new areas in which they venture in due course with sufficient knowledge. One important thing to note about the circle of competence is that it is not the size or the number of business you target, but it is about how well you understand the business you have chosen. If you think your knowledge is restricted to just one area, then it is better to start investing money only in that one business. Slowly, as you build experience and exposure to other businesses, then you must consider investing in them. So, going with this concept, it is straightforward and clear that if you are a doctor, then invest in pharma companies. If you are an engineer, then pick up tech stocks. If you are a biotechnologist, then pick up pharma stocks. If you are an architect, then pick up heavy industry stocks. The key takeaway here is that you must not get confused when I say invest in those companies which you understand well. You don't need to hold a degree or be a master analyzer to follow this company. Even an average investor can understand companies with focused research and efforts. Note: the width of an investor's area of competence can be defined by his spending habits, types of products used by him generally, and the profession he is in. According to Peter Lynch, our biggest research tools are our eyes, ears, and common sense. If you find something fishy about the company, it's best to avoid it, as there cannot be just one cockroach in the sink. We buy dozens of things every week, so if something attracts you as a consumer, that's a good starting point to start reading about that company as a potential investor. Second point of Peter Lynch model of stock picking: look for boring companies in not so exciting industries. Let us take the example of Bitcoin or cryptocurrency to understand whether the investment should be boring or exciting. Bitcoin is by far the most successful cryptocurrency of the world. A cryptocurrency is a virtual currency that uses cryptograph for security. Bitcoin picked up considerable momentum due to its high volatility, inviting large price fluctuation. It is loved by investors who are high risk oriented and believe in being speculative to make quick substantial gains. The Bitcoin value started at $697.37, reached $13,860.14 and dropped to $6,320 in October 2018. So you can see the stark variation in the price of Bitcoin, which is why it has become so popular. Likewise, people like to trade in stocks because they find it exciting to see the stock prices hiking, which enables them to make money. But volatility is not a measure to define your success in stock investment at any point, as we have already seen that any volatile commodity which has risen to an enjoyable hike takes a steep fall in the next few moments due to its instability. Hence, stock traders who believe in chasing higher volatile stocks are often left disappointed, as the prices are extremely fluctuating with no substantial gain in the longer run. So, if your targeted investment appears to be boring, then you are on the right track. If the investment seems to be exciting, then you need to reconsider your strategy of investment. Third, as an investor, prefer slow changing industries. A good investor always welcomes change, but the change in the industry must be slow and relevant. Though the industry is bound to change, yet the ethics, the motivation, and the basic intent of the industry must remain the same. From an investor's point of view, let us look at the following example. Companies like Coca-Cola have hardly changed themselves over the years. Coca-Cola has managed to grow multifold and enjoys a dominant market position. These companies serve as an ideal investment option as the dynamics of running the company has sustained itself over the years. Such companies serves as an ideal investment option as the strategies of running these companies have successfully been proven over the years. But on the other hand, the fast changing companies like Nokia, BlackBerry, and Kodak gained a lot of popularity but were quickly kicked out of the business They lost huge market shares as they missed a few cycles of change to launch newer versions of their latest product. Of course, it is exceptionally challenging to innovate new viable products every few months. It is obvious that companies that require such high level of innovation to compete will eventually die out someday. The moral of the story is that as an investor, look for companies that evolve and change, but relatively slowly as compared to fast changing companies like Nokia, BlackBerry, etc. Figure out the inevitables. Companies that are backed by solid management and have remained ethical in their approach are bound to bounce back successfully, defying all odds. Such companies are called the inevitables by Warren Buffett. For example, Coca-Cola. Long back, Coca-Cola diversified to launch a new variant called Sherry Coke, which was a big disaster. Of course, a lot of funds were required for research, launch, and to promote Sherry Coke. Unfortunately, this new product did not do well and had to be called off. Coca-Cola suffered huge losses, which resulted in delayed return to the stock investors. But eventually, investing in Coca-Cola did pay off for investors and they were able to get good returns on their investment. The lesson it teaches us here is that the loss of focus may happen temporarily in good companies because every company goes through a learning phase. Most importantly, every learning in business either brings you profit or an invaluable experience to grow and develop further. Gillette. A few decades back, Gillette, which is the market leader in the blade industry, thought of diversifying its business. It started exploring oil aggressively but failed miserably in it. Expanding into oil exploration cost it heftily, but still, Gillette could sail through the losses smoothly as it was the market leader, held 60% market share in the blade industry. It could easily bounce back with consistent profit inflow and eventually paid off very high dividend to its investors. Number 5. Be patient as an investor. One of the important things to note here is that as an individual investor, one must go slow in choosing stocks. Take ample time to read and gather information about your preferred companies and always remember that haste makes waste. Number 6. Small investment do matter. As a small investor, you may think that by investing a small value of money, how will you earn satisfactory returns? Small individual investors believe that by buying a few shares, nothing substantial can be gained. But even a few right investment can fetch much bigger returns with the power of compounding. Interesting information on the psychology of an individual investor. A common fear that a small investor carries is that he or she may have little chance of survival in the stock market as compared to huge investors. Often, it is believed that big influential investors like renowned businessmen or celebrities have direct access to the company's inside information, as they know the top officials of the company very well. So it is believed that they can take advantage of the information revealed secretly to them and act accordingly to fetch immense returns. But the fact is that the insider information available to influential people might not be correct at all the times, as even big companies hire highly skilled sales professionals to plant a good image of the company in the minds of influential big investors. Any information that is planted does not act in the best interest of the investors. On the contrary, small investors must be happy that they are away from this intended manipulation. So they are free to place bets based on the ethical evaluation of the business, which invites much higher chances of success. Number 7. Never believe the advice that you read or hear. As an individual investor, always try to dig deeper to understand a company before investing in it. You must never blindly believe the advice that you get to read in the newspaper or hear on the news channel. Number 8. Choose the growing companies in India. Identify the growing companies in India and invest in them as a long-term investor to get hefty returns in the future. But as Warren Buffett states, if you are not willing to own a stock for 10 years, then don't own it even for 10 minutes. These are some of the suggestions that you must keep in mind always. Individual investors like Warren Buffett did grow out to become multi-billionaire just by taking the right approach to investment. Number 9. How helpful is it to check out the latest quarterly report of the company? Most investors try to gauge a company's performance by checking its latest quarterly published report. In reality, these reports give a snapshot of the most recent quarterly performance of the company, which can be misleading. Such reports work if you are trading in stocks to target short-term earning. Quarterly reports do not tell anything about the long-term survival of the company, nor do they talk about the management practices of the company. So one cannot make out anything about the prospects of the company just by looking at its current report, even though it might look promising. Number 10. Go for businesses that are focusing in a niche market. Do you know that big companies like Coca-Cola consistently buy their shares? Companies with focused niche are easier to target than otherwise. For example, a company X might be manufacturing 5 different products A, B, C, D, and E. And suppose only A is outperforming and other products are underperforming. But the consolidated annual report of the company shows positive growth, indicating good profits. So as an investor, you might get tempted to invest in it. But can you rely on the future of the company? As for how long can a single product overshadow 4 other underperforming products? Hence, as a convention, any company which is into multiple business must reveal a separate business report for each of its business. But from an investor's view, it gets complicated to understand the performance of such companies, and hence it would be wiser to avoid such company at least in the initial learning stages. Number 11. Check business ethics. The negative growth of a company should be reported as promptly as a positive one. A company cannot keep outperforming at all the times and cannot show higher cash inflows too. A company may incur losses but may have made substantial investments to expand or diversify, which must reflect in its cash outflow and must be revealed as it is in the annual report. Number 12. The proportionate increase in stock value. According to seasoned investors, theorists, and fundamentalists, the stock price must appreciate such that for every rupee 1 retained by the company, the shareholder must earn rupee 1. For example, if a company chooses to retain rupees 100 from the profits and does not give it away as dividend, then shareholders' wealth must eventually rise by rupees 100. 13. Beware of companies making too many predictions. Beware of companies that shows too many positive predictions, as it is a bad management practice. There is no surety of such prediction, turning true. And it surely manipulates the behavior of market buyers, sellers, and brokers, which is not ethical. And of course, such companies may lose out on being ethical on various fronts, as they have already compromised on their ethics here. Also, beware of companies who claim to have been consistently performing at or above the declared targets. Remember that no company can always meet declared targets or supersede them for several years. There is a great possibility of making up the data here. 14. Prospering industry. If a company is into multiple businesses, then not all businesses of a company will increase its profit. Of course, a company's growth is directly dependent on the growth of the industry, but when the industry is suffering setbacks, the same might get reflected in the company's performance after a while. Usually, if the company's management is highly talented, it works hard to minimize the ill effect of the industry. This may prolong the latent period for the losses to show up for the company. So, as an investor, you need to look at industries that have positive growth potential in the future. Let us understand this with an example. Warren Buffett had long been invested in the textile business. He was incredibly blessed to have a great dedicated team of laborers and managers who could handle work very efficiently. The textile industry was struggling to mark its existence in those days. But Warren Buffett did not feel the negative influence of the textile industry on his business because his efficient team kept performing well to minimize the ill effects of the industry on the business. But eventually, the business had to shut as the industry itself was in its darkest phase. Consequently, Warren Buffett suffered enormous losses, for he had invested heavily in that business. So, a good management team can overshadow the effect of the adverse market influence. If the team had not worked so efficiently, then Warren Buffett would have shut his business long back and would have undoubtedly incurred much fewer losses. Moral: stocks of promising ventures may give mediocre returns if the industry is not performing well, but the same stocks can fetch better return if the sector does well. Number 15. The intrinsic value increases early. The company's intrinsic value rises at a faster pace as compared to market recognition of its success. As soon as the news of any new business expansion is out, the positive effect is seen on the share price. It should be noted that the company has not started earning additional revenue yet, but the intrinsic value started soaring high. 16. Follow the investment principle. The true underlying principle of any business is that the investors gain as the market goes down. In reality, only disinvestors lose as the market goes down, because when the market is down, then it's time to buy more shares of the promising company at a lower price. 17. Avoid making decisions based on predictions. Nobody never had and will never have an idea about where the stock market will be in a year later. Hence, you must avoid taking any decision based on predictions that you get to hear or read. 18. Follow a good strategy. The investment market is ideal as long as the investor sticks to a sound investment strategy. A good investment strategy seldom fails. 19. Invest wisely. Never buy a mediocre business at a bargained price. Always put your brain to test while picking up a low price stock. 20. Analyzing the company's present worth. Analyzing businesses does not require any technical knowledge to understand beta profits or decoding the modern portfolios theory. Speculating efficient market, looking for option pricing or emerging markets, etc. It just need a detailed eye, patience and skill to analyze a company's present worth. 21. Stock split. Some companies opt to split their high priced stock to attract investors. But the stock split of top priced share does no good. This is so because the companies attract non-value investors who speculate, which result in price swing. 22. Investment motives of a company. The investment motive of the top management must be coupled with the right investment prices. For example, it is always wise to buy 10% ownership of a promising company, Z, at a price of rupees X per share, rather than acquiring it 100% at a 2x price per share. 23. Mergers and acquisitions. Most companies get into the acquisition of other companies only to satiate their ego, while many other companies believe that by acquiring their efficient management will make an average performing company an overperforming one. But this is not always true. The management must instead make the acquisition for the following reason. First, the acquired company has the potential to grow further. Second, the acquired company has technical know-how which will help the acquired company to cut competition. Third, the acquired company is available at a cheaper valuation. The biggest challenge that comes in the acquisition of a company is to be fair to the shareholders of both the companies. 24. Working capital status. The spurt in debtors and inventory of a company indicates that it is facing working capital issues. This point has been further elaborated in the earlier chapters of this book. A piece of advice for young investors is that they must invest in touch and feel kind of businesses where they can understand the value of product by using them, for example, Gillette and Colgate. Note: the research on the point discussed above bring in a lot of confidence in you as an investor. Your small seeds of investment, if placed rightly, have the potential to grow into an immense wealth over the years. Hence, this research is a must-do for long-term investment returns.